Okay, so I might be looking a little bit like rewarmed leftovers, but that's why the two of us are out here sitting in the sun getting a little bit of vitamin D. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about terrestrial orchids because they can be such a joy to own and grow and have flower. But Calanthea can be a different story. They can be a little bit tricky to flower, and Calanthea, the name being beautiful flower, means it's really something that we want to get to flower, don't we? The majority of Calanthes are terrestrial orchids, and a lot of them are deciduous. They'll drop all their leaves in winter due to either a cooler period or a drier period. And is it this drier period that's going to help make them flower, or is there a secret to it? Let's have a listen to what this gentleman from the Highway Orchid Society has got to say about growing Calanthes. He's got a lot to teach us, and he has a surefire way of getting his Calanthe to flower every year. So let's get straight into it.
Good afternoon, everyone. The potting demonstration today on a specific type of orchid that has a specific mix. It's the Calanthe range. I've already made up a mix, but the mix I do is 1/3 potting soil, 1/3 river sand, and 1/3 kraal manure. And then into the mix I sprinkle bone meal and mix it all in. Okay, so that's why, as you know, most of your orchids are in a bark mix. This is not. And then the next thing I'm very chuffed to, which I was hoping to show and seeing, and I'll let you all have a quick look before we take it out. This particular one is showing signs. Look, new growth. Yeah. No, they're deciduous, so they lose all their leaves. But you have a look now. New plant growth starting.
Little bud.
At the bottom there.
Yeah. So you know how to cross that off.
See, new plant growth. See there. It's new plant growth. Okay. They all come like that. Some of them you'll see under the sand still, but that one is showing up now. You see the new plant growth?
Finished,
no, they're deciduous. They don't. They lose their leaves in February, March.
And they even go all pinky like that.
That's standard.
Yeah.
You just got to be careful with repotting with these, like I've done there. You tend to bump that and it breaks off.
Yeah, that's it.
But I've had that where you put that into your soil mix and it will send out new growth. Now I just wash the pots, get all the sand out so they are clean. Oh, actually I'm not going to worry. I've got clean ones here, but because the holes are big, I've put a little bit of fiber stuff inside so the sand doesn't pull through. Yeah. Here is my mix I've done already. I wasn't going to do a mix here. There. Now I've got two pots. I've two I'm going to do.
Did you not put stones in the
Nope.
bottom? No. Oh, fine mesh.
I have put it. It's a mesh stuff you buy to put down in your garden, and you put stuff on top to stop the weeds coming through. Water will still drain. It's like a bit of the water will still drain through.
Okay.
Now, as you can see here, this one is dead, so I'm going to throw that out.
How old is that plant?
I don't know. So I repot every year, and I don't keep a record of the age. But having big pseudobulbs, it could be quite a few years, because I've had some there from small that only flowered after 4 or 5 years. So yeah.
May I ask why you repot it every year? I mean, that pot looks big enough for a couple of years.
Yes, but it's to give the new mix. The lady I got the whole story from, and he's from 1 year, she didn't. And that year after, she had a terrible array of flowers. So it's maybe something that just helps them. Now, also, when you're going to do, you cut off the old flower spike. Now the roots, you see how long the roots are? So there. It resends out new roots. Now I showed you the new plant growth that was showing up. There's a new one starting.
Yeah.
You see, it's very faint, but it's there. Right? You also must just crack the bulbs so they don't have to pull them apart, but just break them so the roots hold them together.
That's quite deep.
Yeah, look, I've had some where the roots are that long.
Oh, really?
And I've got one or two on show there where some of that soil has come out and they're actually growing out the sand. Then all I do is just to put a bit round like that, just to hide the roots to hold it in place. All right, I don't have at the moment, I'm getting some more, is those little brown pellets, the slow release fertilizer. Just put a few granules of that in the top. That's it. And I've got the name tag here because I've bought more because I thought I was going into more pots, but I don't have to. This one that we've done is the Calanthe Rubens Sweet Time. It's a white. This one is the Wythorn, it was a pure white as well. Whereas you saw the others there where there were some reds. There was the white with the purple center, which is your Vestita. The white at the top with the pink at the bottom is your Vestita variant William Murray. It used to be just a William Murray, but these boffins have changed the name, yeah.
Could you just repeat the mix of the you've got in there?
All right. 1/3, now depending on what container, so your container size doesn't matter. 1/3 potting soil, 1/3 river sand, and 1/3 kraal manure. Now you can buy the kraal manure in packets from builders. And then into the mixed bone meal.
How much bone meal?
I put a fair amount, but I can't say X amount. I only needs a bit more, it's judgment, just to see what it looks like in terms of what's gone in. All right, now this one, I thought this piece was in here, but I've lost it when I put it in the car yesterday. I'm going to take a chance and pot this separately. The chance I could send out new growth, even though it's lost its top piece. Okay, so yeah, I've had it worked. I've had that piece. The piece is broken off where I've put it into soil, and it's sent out from the top new growth. So they're pretty hardy. Sorry? It's a Calanthe. This one is the Calanthe Rubens Wythorn. Now you see how root bound they are too. Now you saw me cutting off on the other one. They send out new.
And is that only a year old? You said you repotted.
Those pseudoballs will be older. Because the older are, the bigger they get. But you'll find if they're the young bulbs, they may not flower for 2-3 years before you get a flower out of them. I mean, there are people in our club who've got from me and they haven't flowered for them for a year or two. Shams is one, because they're young bulbs that I've given them where they've helped me. I mean, my daughter gave me two, well, these two. And they only flowered for the first time after 4 or 5 years. Yeah, so, they... Patience. Yes. They didn't die, they made new bulbs, I repotted them, but eventually they flowered for me. You see now with the roots growing around, I slowly just open them out. Oh, what did I do? That easy, yeah. They are. It's all right.
Just one water pot.
Yeah, I've got some spare pots. I will do that. Not what I wanted, but yes, the one next to the flower spike. You see it, the new growth starting. Now this new growth is what comes up with all the new leaves. I mean, depending on the size of the bulbs, you can have the leaves up to this height off your pot. But don't do like I did the first year I had them. come February, March, the leaves turn brown and die off, and I go, Da's going to kill me, I'm killing her orchid. Because they're deciduous, that's what happens. Okay. There what? There's another new growth there, and that's on the one that's I've just broken off, so you'll get something from it. That one's loose. I'm going to take a chance and put that separately. Now, the one year I didn't have name tags. I put stuff there thinking I'd know what they were. I couldn't remember the names. I had to wait till they flowered to give them their names. If you want to use a pencil that works, I've got here a 6B. It's darker, it tends to stay on. Your normal HB and that, they don't, they fade. But the 6B does. I just sort of push the sand down to help hold it all in place. Yeah, it's not a difficult procedure, but when you're like me, when you've got 50 pots, it becomes a lengthy procedure to work through all of them and redo them. Because in some cases, depending on the number of pseudobulbs in a pot, you've got to split to 2 pots because you can't put them all back. And I don't tend to go bigger, I tend to keep them in the smaller pots. But I mean, that's everyone's choice. Any questions? I know it's short, but
Yes, what do you do with them now? Where do you put them?
they're in my shade house. They get water with all my other plants.
How often?
That's a silly one because sometimes I forget, and they maybe in 2 weeks, sometimes once a week. Like the other day, the shade house was in, I put on, I went to go and do something else. An hour later, I suddenly remembered the sprinkler system was still on, and I went hurting around to go and turn it off. Yeah. So, yeah, it varies. Yeah. Look, there is a lot of controversy amongst certain of club members to say that over this time of the year, you let them rest until they start showing the new plant growth. Di and I both do this. We water them all the time, and you've seen our results. You've seen what's on show there of ours. We don't have a problem. I have heard a comment made where someone said he rests them, doesn't water them, but then he was complaining that the pseudobulbs are starting to shrink up because they're losing moisture.
Yes.
Well, I mean, isn't that obvious? He's not watering it. Look, they are very rewarding. On the one that's there, the Vestita, I've had a flower spike with 15 flowers open on one spike, where the first ones have died off, and at the end, there's still buds that haven't opened, and I've got 15 open on one spike. And the spike's like that long. And the one that's there, the William Murray, is also, like your Vestita, quite a prolific flower in terms of spike length and the number of flowers on the spike. Then the others, like there's a Rosium there, the Rubens are small pink, and the flowers are a lot smaller. And then the Victoria Regina and the Harissa pink are pink, but the flowers are a lot bigger. So they do vary.
How long the flowers spikes are going to last?
These have died off. They opened April, May. And they died off now mid-July. The last flowers on them. So it varies. I mean, I've had some now when I'm repotting, and Shams has been there with me, where some of like the Rubens and the Rosiums and the pinks are still flowering, and I'm repotting, and you've got new growth starting. So, you know, there's no hard and fast set rule as such. But I try and repot all mine in September. Last year I was a bit late. I think I went into October. So some of the new growth was already like this size.
But now, what, only these Calanthes?
Only the Calanthes I do.
Because, I mean, you can't repot cymbidiums
No.
in September.
No, but not only in that. I mean, a lot of those others, depending on the quality of your bark mix, it lasts up to about 4 years, 3 to 4 years, and then you have to repot anyway. But again, as you said, depending on that particular plant as to when you must repot. Whereas, you know, this with this mix now, as you can see, it does deteriorate because of what's in it. So I've been lucky. I've been regimental about repotting. The one year Di didn't, and she said to me the next year, she said, oh, the flowers were terrible. So, you know, if you're wanting to do orchids, this is a little bit of a awkward or hard and fast rule for this particular range.
A labor of love.
Sorry?
A labor of love.
Well, that's a way of putting it, yes. Yes. But as I say, I find it a mission when you've got over 50 plants to repot. But you've got to be regimental to know when you take out what they are to put the right tags back in the right pots.
But women wouldn't have that problem.
Sorry?
Nothing. You didn't hear.
Well, when you've got a group of you doing it, you've got to make sure they all know which one's coming out and which one, so we do put the right name in.
Do you do any extra feeding other than the manure and the burning?
If I do any, and I'm terrible on that, so let's say if I do any extra feeding, then with everything else, they get whatever feed I'm giving. So I do, yeah. But I mean, I'm not regimental as some guys at once a week or once in 2 weeks or whatever it is. Mine could be fed once in 4 months. But I mean, I've been lucky. There are some guys that are in the clubs that they can't grow them. They make compost out of them because they kill them. So yeah.
Which
These, yeah.
the Calanthes.
Yeah. I mean, my late neighbour was one, and another member in the club living in Montclair was another one. He said he kills them. So yeah, I've been lucky. And I mean, Di, you go to her place, in one area of a shade house, about a quarter of the whole shade house is just the Calanthe range because of the way they do multiply. I mean, look, as you saw there in the one pot, both pseudobulbs have got new growth. So next year with the new growth, I'm going to have to split that into another pot. So unless you're getting rid of it, your volume of plant is multiplying. Any other questions? Well, look, thanks for all attending. Hopefully it'll give you an interest in looking into another range of orchids. As you can see, it is a very varied or different range. Thanks. Thanks. Thank you.
If you grow Calanthe and have any other ideas on what is the best practice for getting them to flower, drop them in the comments box below. And if you have any other queries or questions, remember to check out that Buy Me a Coffee link. Ed has posted up over 100 different articles there, all orchid related, in point form to make them easy reference material. There is also a lot of terrestrial orchid growing material there too, so be sure to go check out that Buy Me a Coffee link in the description box below. And thank you for watching. If you have found any of this information helpful, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. Bing bong! Oopsie. To be notified of all our upcoming content so you don't miss out on a thing. Help us grow as we help your orchids grow.